Hello and welcome to the Mike Ames Recruitment Show. We are back after our summer break, and you may have noticed immediately that I am not Kirsty. She is gallivanting around Europe. I won't say exactly where. She likes to keep her location a secret, but I believe she will be tuning in to join us. Now, we are here today to talk about video. We have a guest, and I'm going to hand over in a second to Mike, who will introduce our guest and explain why we are here to talk about video specifically as a sales tool. Mike, can you tell us why we're going to talk about this?
Yeah, well, because we really like videos, basically. I mean, I think both myself and Jake are big video fans because we've seen the power of it. I think a lot of people use video, stick it out there. I don't really see very much from it. So they think, oh, well, it's just another thing. When it's used properly, it's amazeballs what you can get from it. And Jacob's going to share some stories with us in a minute, which I think will blow you away. And hopefully I can add a few bits and bobs as well. But let me introduce Jacob Ireson from Mobile Rocket. I always forget that. Rocket Mobile, I want to call it in my head. Mobile Rocket. Tell us, well, welcome to the show for a start. And tell us very quickly, what does Mobile Rocket actually do?
Yeah, well, thanks so much for having us, Mike. So yeah, Mobile Rocket, we help temp recruiters save time and money through powerful mobile apps, CRM, and e-registration software. Nice and simple.
Okay, and I'm sure if anybody wants to connect with Jacob after the show, LinkedIn is probably the best way to do that, I'm thinking. Okay, so before we crack on with the sort of areas that we want to talk about where you can actually leverage video, just want to talk about why video is so powerful. Why is it such a, when you use it properly, why is it such a really great tool? Jacob, what have you got to say on that?
Absolutely, Mike. Yeah, I think video is so important and video is so effective because you'll have all heard people buy from people, and the easiest way for you to get across your personality, to personalize it, to immediately communicate and stand out different is via video. You can add your own twist to it. People can put, face to a name, and it's different. People aren't doing it, and I know we're going to explore the loads of different avenues of video and how we can use that to get more sales today. But I think it's a brilliant way to engage and a bit different out there as well.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that if you can get your personality over in a written piece, but it's kind of hard, really. It's the language that you use, and people think, oh well, someone else wrote that or could think that. If it's audio, well, that's better because it's you now and you're talking and they can kind of hear the way in which you are. But video brings on a whole different dimension. And I think in the same way they say in cookery, was it the first taste is made with the eye? I think it's the same here. Before you even start to do business, you've already tasted that person by seeing them and being their personality on video. Massively powerful. Rubbish if you haven't got a personality, of course. I was going to make a joke about lawyers, but I'm just not going to do that because we've got a lot of clients.
No, don't pick on them.
No, we'll go for accountants instead now.
Well, I mean, if that's the case, then this is a very delicious show. I think if we're tasting personalities, yeah. Well, let's dig into it a little bit on this one because I will just echo this actually on what you're saying there, and we'll come on to it more, I'm sure. But the number of people I am approached by who have watched this show, and obviously I only guest host sometimes or guest appear, but they talk to you like they know you, and you've never met them before in your life.
Oh, someone recognised me.
Thing?
Someone recognised me in a pub recently. You're right, Mike Ames. Yeah. Do I owe you money? Honestly, seen the show. Unbelievable. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the only tiny downside. You're going to be on your back foot when you get approached, but you're going to get approached. That's the key thing. Well, let's talk now about the things that we are.
Oh, before we do that, let's just do this.
Look, she's revealed her location.
Hey.
Yeah. She was. We're going to try and get her to tune in, but ironically, the video signal wasn't very good. So.
I just like the idea of her wandering around the beauty of Venice, ignoring all of it, just zoned in on the Mike Ames Recruitment Show. Love that vibe. Right, let's crack in to the reasons we're here today. So, first area, I think the most common thing that springs to mind for people when it comes to video and using it online is to post a video on LinkedIn. Jacob, what are your thoughts about that?
Absolutely. I think LinkedIn video is an absolute brilliant way to start. The reason that I've used LinkedIn videos and been so successful with is mainly around content. So there's loads you can do it with there. I know there's 3 points that we're sort of going to talk about as well. But the fact that you can just yet again get across your personality, you can engage with people, produce content that they're going to be able to engage with. They can see that yet again, they're putting a face to the name. The amount of people that I see on LinkedIn that are posting videos and that I'm watching constantly, where if I need something and I know that's the service that they do, it's the first person I think of because it's always at the top of your mind. So it's about keeping engaged with people, putting a face to a name, bringing your personality on LinkedIn, making sure people that recognize you as an expert. I think that's so important.
Can I just unpack that for a second? Because I think you made a very important point there. One of the things I see with videos, now, if I'm honest, when we first started using videos years ago, we tried to produce videos that weren't us. We tried to be the BBC, I suppose, or something, you know, and we lacked authenticity. And it's right to say that the key thing with video, this kind of LinkedIn post, is be authentic, isn't it? Be yourself, because that's what people are buying at the end of the day. And it's there's a guy, if anyone's got an opportunity to check out his videos, his name is Ward Hampton. He's a recruiter. He's a client actually, but he lives in Peru, and he's coming on the show in a few weeks' time to talk about his kind of nomadic existence that he has. But he does some outstanding videos in Peru, just walking through rainforests and things. And when I watch them, that is Ward. That is him. It's exactly him. And they're very popular because it's just him. So what do you think about authenticity with these things? Is that important to you too?
It absolutely is. I think that's yet again, it goes back to that people buy from people. And when you buy into someone's personality and you get that insight, you're no longer just a number. You're no longer just someone that's trying to prospect to them. You're no longer someone that's trying to get their attention. And you're actually someone that's producing things that are relevant to them, that they're watching. They can see who you are. They can see that you're human. That's the most important thing. That's something that really stood out when I first watched the Mike Ames show. How humanized it was and friendly and fun, and people like that. That's what I like.
They do, yeah. I mean, you've got those 3 E's that you talk a lot about, haven't you? And I think one of them is entertain, I believe, and
absolutely,
that's what you have to do. It's not just enough to talk to people about something they should be interested in. You've got to entertain them.
Yeah.
No,
well, could we actually
just won't come.
Jacob, could you run us through the 3 E's? Because this was beautiful when we were doing the warm up. I thought this was a really nice way to explain what kind of content you should be producing on these video posts.
Yeah, absolutely. So many people often ask, well, what do I post? What do I do a video about? So it's structured really nicely into what named as the 3 E's. So 3 types of content: either educate, empower, or entertain. So 3 types of ways you can do it. You can see them on the screen, which is lovely. And the ones I've always liked is entertain and educate. Usually, I think I don't know if you check out my LinkedIn page, but you'll see a lot of daft TikTok videos, still relating to sort of the sort of target market and recruitment and things like that. But the amount of engagement that I've got from that and people just recognise me has been brilliant, and also educate as well. But sorry, go on.
No, you can entertain and educate and empower at the same time, can't you? I mean, the entertainment thing, I think, always has to be there to a greater or lesser extent.
Yeah.
If it's valuable but dull, people just won't engage with it, you know. So you do have to do that, I think.
I think the really interesting thing about all 3 of those is that none of them are pitch. You know, because I think sometimes what people fall into the trap is kind of like with LinkedIn posts. I think the post should be, I sell this. If you want it, come and buy it. And that's not what you do, is it? Like you said, it's about being front of mind by being entertaining, empowering, and educating.
Definitely, yeah. And I see this as a bit of a downfall. I've seen a few videos before where it might be, oh, we're doing a video, I've got these jobs open at the moment, please apply in the link below. And that is probably not the thing to do with videos. The point of videos is to create, like I go back to what I said, getting recognized as an expert. If you can get recognized as an expert by people watching your videos, by empowering them, by educating them on things recruitment, you'll become recognized in that. And then the leads will come naturally by conversations. The amount of times that when I'm speaking to someone and they'll say, I've seen your videos on LinkedIn, I think I've watched them before. Or you drop someone a message and they'll go, oh yeah, I've sort of seen this video. And it all ties in. We begin to create this persona on LinkedIn and this personality as well, which is great.
Yeah, and also when we come to video podcasts, which we're moving on to in a second, I know I can see Peter jumping at the timings, but obviously you're going to get a YouTube channel with all of these things on it, so it's very easy to point people towards a video, so they could see it, and that's the point of putting it on social media. They will see it, and they might not say anything or do anything, but they will see it, and they will begin to build up a vision of you as a person, so that if you reach out to them, if you message them or even call them, they're much more likely to take that call or answer that message because they feel they already know you from the videos. And that is when everything's going to come back to sales. If I'm bringing LinkedIn posts, video posts back to sales, it's because it makes people familiar. It's the mere exposure effect. If you know about marketing, the more you become exposed to something, the more likely you are to engage with it, which is why people pay for advertising on TV. So you become familiar with their brand and their message. It's the same here. It's kind of like the mere exposure effect, where you're putting stuff out there and you're making it so that people become familiar with you. So when you approach them, much more likely to react. And we find that all the time. I don't know whether you do too.
We do, yeah, definitely.
Well, let's because I know we're going to talk about more direct approaches in a little while, Jacob, which I'm really excited about because I think it's just a brilliant tip you've got for people. But for now, let's move on, as you say, Mike, into video podcasts, because they're like in a way they're a giant version of a LinkedIn post, aren't they? So, Jacob, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on how and why video podcasts work and how someone should go about doing them?
Video podcasts, a massive fan of them. There's many different avenues. I'm sure Mike will touch on a few that you can go down with video podcasts. The way I actually started my video podcast was I watched a podcast about starting a video podcast, and one of the advices was the best reason to start a podcast is for content, great content to produce and to use from a marketing point of view and market itself out there and get known, but also a way to actually reach out to people. So I started it, something called the 1 Minute Podcast was the first one that I did, where one question show, where asked person one question. I used to approach prospects, asking them, can I just do one question? We'll produce some content around it. It was great for marketing. And that was a person that I was trying to sell to. So it was just about building that initial relationship. Most people were up for it. 3 minutes of the time is the way I sold it. Just saying, look, hop on. And that was brilliant to build a relationship.
So to be clear on that, you were targeting potential clients to get their opinion or their answer to a 1 minute question. That's what you're saying there.
That's what it was, yeah. And we then produced content on that, saying, look, I spoke with Mike. He did advice on this one section here. This is brilliant. Reach out. It was just good marketing for both. For 5 minutes of someone's time, pretty much everyone was up for doing it. So it worked really well. That then spiraled into producing the actual full podcast, which has had great success as well, which I'm sure we're going to discuss in a second.
I think, that's a really good point. There's so much to talk about there. And I know we are kind of limited on time on this and we want to get to video messaging pretty quickly, but obviously people are watching the show right now. This is a video podcast.
Yeah.
The benefit of it is that it's going to be on LinkedIn forever. It's going to be on Twitter. We're broadcasting to Twitter now and to YouTube at the same time. So, and at the end of it, we get this YouTube channel, this playlist of all of our previous shows on there. And LinkedIn Live particularly is awesome. It's better, I think, than anything else that's around right now. And it's empty. There's not a lot of people in it doing it well, but it's a space that's there to be had. And of course, you can then strip off the audio and stick it on a traditional audio podcast. There's no reason why you can't do that. In fact, we're planning to have a big project to do that very thing actually fairly soon. So people can still listen to it, but people can interact, people can watch and listen. I've got one of my clients who regularly sits down. He might even be watching it now, I don't know. And he gets his team to watch the show with him, and then they talk about it afterwards. So it gets used in all sorts of ways. And you said when you've used it, you actually get direct leads at the end of it. That's right, isn't it?
Yeah. So hopefully there's some people on that was on the last Heroes in Recruitment podcast, but we had over 200 sign-ups from it. We marketed the craze out. It was on a really good subject around the right to work changes, which really lent itself. But from that, we had a live Q&A at the end. So there was loads of people on, which is brilliant. We had over 200 plus sign-ups. There was over 100 people live on the webinar. And then after that, it straight away went to a landing page saying, do you want to know more? Request a demo, and we had 30 plus people sign up right there and then. And that sort of then led into a marketing campaign from there as well. So that works brilliantly as well.
We use webinars more for that. So when we run our webinars, we don't sell, but there's look, if you want to know more, you want to do this, then you can have this. If you don't, we've just given you an hour's worth of content. We want 3 minutes at the end just to explain what we do. But with these shows, we don't sell. Very, very rarely sell at the end of it. We're not selling at the end of this one. It's just about adding content. One more thing to say before we move on as well to testimonials is that you don't have to be clever yourself or knowledgeable about everything, do you? You just have to know what your audience is interested in and then find somebody that's prepared to come on the show and talk about it. That's what you do, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what you do. Find someone that's knowledgeable on the subject, find things that are hot topics at the moment that people are interested in. I think the last podcast was a bit of a different scenario, but just to reiterate what you said there, avoiding trying to sell at the end, that just sort of lent itself with the fact that we're partnering with that company. But it's about producing content and then engaging with people and sort of taking down that journey and cycle.
I think, there's nothing wrong with letting people know they can buy.
Yeah.
I think it's when you the entire thing is a pitch. That's when it's not going to work for people. I mean, let's draw a line because I'm conscious of time and I know we've got quite a lot to cover. So, just by the way, I know that there are a lot of people watching right now. It looks like some good numbers online. If you have any questions for Jacob or Mike about what's happening, what they're talking about, things that they've worked, that'd be great. If nothing else, let us know where you're watching from, because I think it's nice to see just how far these videos can reach in terms of the people you can get access to. Pop that in the comments. But for now, Mike, can you just quickly run us through testimonials and case studies as a video sales tool?
Okay, I know it's not something that Jacob uses particularly widely, and I'll keep this to sort of 2 or 3 sentences. We've done shows on this before, and we're going to do another show with Kirsty on it again. So I don't want to go into too much depth now and steal her fire. But video testimonials, usually 45 to 60 seconds long, making 1 or 2 points that correlate directly with claims that you make about your product or service, are very powerful. And you can either put them out on social media, or we've got a video wall. If you go to our Flair website, there's a whole wall of video testimonials. And I'm right in saying, Pete, it's the most popular page on our site, isn't it? On that site, gets visited the most.
After the About page, which always is the most popular on any page, yes, it's the one that seems to have the highest traffic.
So we know people look at it. And it's not even a site we promote anymore. It's an old site. But you can also do video case studies up to 9 minutes long. And you might think, 9 minutes, no one's going to watch that. Well, the thing with a case study is they're mostly consumed because people are interested in you and they're beginning to make that final decision. So yes, they will watch it. And we've had some great results from well-structured, well put together video case studies. Because, as Jacob said right at the beginning, people can see if someone's telling the truth. No one's written this for them. No one's had it script written or anything. They're just looking at the camera and just telling the way it is. It's very, very powerful. So I would think in the sales process, personally, I would be reaching out now and get some of those testimonials if you can.
Yeah, I think, Jacob, what are your thoughts on this? I think, given what you've said, I can anticipate. But video testimonials, sometimes people can tend to overproduce them. There can be a little bit of tingly-tangly music followed by some young-looking people walking up a street before it cuts in. And that actually reduces the impact of the testimonial, doesn't it? Like you said, authenticity. What are your thoughts?
I think just reiterating what you said there, it needs to be genuine. People want to see that it's not forced. It's not you handing them a script and saying, please tell us how great our product is. And they want to see exactly, the reason why they're working with you at the moment, the reason why they love your software or product or whatever service you're providing. And that is why video testimonials are so great. I know often what Mike said there is towards the end of the sales cycle, people want to watch the case studies as well, so they're so effective too. But it's about that personality, being genuine and having that available for customers to view.
Oh, and one last thing on this before we move on. If you've got a video case study, you can easily write a written PDF version from the video. So it's absolutely fine. You've got both then if you need them.
Super swift. Well, let's move on. And just before we do, I just want to let us demonstrate the point we're trying to make. This is the kind of reach we're getting today. We've got Natalie in a campsite in South Wales.
Hello, Natalie.
I think it beats Venice. I think we can all agree on that. It beats Kirsty in Venice. And we've also got sunny Stourbridge. which I can confirm. West
It's
Midlands
terrible.
right now.
I went there once, I think, fishing. I think, is there a
Close.
river there? I don't know. I can't say.
Right. Now then, let's move on to what I think is the most exciting of the 4 uses for video we're going to talk about today. Jacob, can you talk to us about video messaging?
Sure can. So this is what I'm really excited to talk about, because this is probably the most success that we've had. And we probably really started to, actually, I'll tell you when we started this. The second that we had a month off furlough from COVID when no one knew it was happening, and we came back, and this was straight away the strategy, and the success from it was just unbelievable. And it's nice and simple. People will probably laugh, but the main way that we used video prospecting to get more sales was reaching out with a personalized video, mainly directly on LinkedIn. And what I'll do, I'll run you through the structure. So first of all, for a couple of quid, get yourself down to the Tesco or the shop and buy yourself a plain whiteboard. So I'll move it in the camera. And what you can see here is I've personalized it a bit, but I'm going to touch on that in a second. So what I'll do is I record myself no more than a minute long max. It's got to be short and sweet. I'd record myself a personalized video. So I'd pick out some top prospects that I'm trying to engage with. Just use your iPhone or your phone, nice and easy, set it up, eye level, decent lighting if you can, etc. Start by usually just pulling a daft face like this, just to start the video. Gets because that's the frame, that's what they first see when they click on the message on LinkedIn. So it's brilliant, I like it. And if you can, the biggest thing about these videos and the most important thing is to personalize the heck out of them. Make them so personalized if you can. So to start with, I used to always write the name, just saying, "Hi, Mike." If you've got any art skills at all, attempt to draw the logo, even if it's just an attempt. People love it. People like to see the logo, and they like to see the name.
That is a very good logo, Flair logo. I'm impressed.
That is a good logo, yeah.
Works quite well. And yeah, again, Amazon, £5 or whatever for all the different colours, whiteboard pens. Not a lot of money to invest for the team. Just to run through the structure of the video. So like I say, keep it 60 seconds long, and start with a quick introduction if you can. Just, "Hi, I'm Jacob. So lovely to reach out to you. I want to do something quick different in a quick video message." Maybe something like that. The first step that I used to always go with is to personalize if you can. So if they're active on LinkedIn, you could say, "Just wanted to reach out, Mike. I really love the Mike Ames Recruitment Show, and I noticed that you've got some great content out there." So that is the first step, just to try and personalize, because people like to hear about them. So that's really good. And I'll try to minimize the selling. It's the same with the video content. You're not going in for a direct sell here. The point is to engage with the prospect and try and get them to respond as well. So, "Hi, Mike, so lovely to speak with you. Just want to drop this quick video message. Saw the Mike Ames Recruitment Show. Absolutely brilliant. Really loving all the content you're producing there." And then almost tie it in with a bit of a hook. You've got to still link it to somewhat of your product. I've been speaking with many other recruiters, Mike. They're facing a couple of these key challenges at the moment. Maybe list 1 or 2 challenges. We've got some great ideas that I'd love to share with you about how tech's helping recruiters. Let me know if you're free for a chat. Hope you enjoyed the video. Have a great day. So it's something as simple as that. Intro, personalize, highlight some challenges that other recruiters like them are facing, and then hook it in gently to the product and open for a call. And that is the way we've structured them, and the success rate, the reply rate was absolutely brilliant.
Now, I know, right, and that is brilliant, by the way. The simplicity of it is astounding. Simplicity is one of our brand values, and that just rings so many bells with me. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
But actually, you might think, "Oh, well, it's been around for some time, loads of people are using it," but they're just not. They're just not using it. So it's still open territory. A bit like LinkedIn Live, it's open territory. Take what you want of it, enter the space and own it. And the same with these video messages. One of our other clients uses it, don't they, with great effect, Pete?
I think more than one of our clients uses it with great effect. Actually, we've had a couple of, and for candidates as well. It can be really effective for candidates and getting the attention of especially senior candidates who are perhaps used to the less personalized approaches, shall we say, that recruitment can fall into. It can be really effective.
One of the other things that someone did, which I saw, they didn't use a whiteboard, although I think I'm going to give the whiteboard a go because I'm really excited about that. But they opened up with the person who they were speaking to or sending it to on LinkedIn. So their LinkedIn profile was behind them. because you can do that on the product Vidyard. So they were a little circle. They, hey, you know, just looked at you, whatever, and you look really interested, and so on and so forth, and then bring themselves up to be like full on onto the video, and that seemed to work very well as well, particularly for senior people. It's something that really grabbed their attention because it's their LinkedIn profile and then draws them in. So it's the same thing. It's about grabbing that attention, isn't it, at the beginning of the video message?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now you said you said you can just do it on an iPhone, I guess, or whatever, or a video camera on your laptop. But there's a product or two that you can use out there, aren't there?
Yeah, there's a few paid products, and the product we use for if you're going to do like an email, whether a bulk email or a personalized email, is Vidyard. Free, really easy to use. You can record a quick video, and it automatically just embeds it straight in the email. Type in the person's email, and you can just send it. It also does a thumbnail as well, sort of customizing the thumbnail, so it'll like be animated in the email, which is pretty nice if you're doing some daft things and going back to the 3Es, entertaining the video, try to be as crazy as possible because it's got a short period of time.
We use Vidyard. It's very easy to use. And unlike a lot of the other products out there where you have to sign up for 2 years or something, you can either have the free version or sign up month by month, I think, if you want to.
And it's not a lot of money either.
No, it's a few dollars a month, I think. It's not a big deal. Just before we move on from this, just a couple of questions. So you have to be connected with somebody to be able to send a video message. You can't use InMail, can you, for video messages? But you can use an email. If you can get access to their email by hook or by crook, you can send it through an email. So even if you're not connected with someone, you can still target them with this method, can't you?
Yeah, you can do. What I used to do is usually I'd spend a bit of time on a Sunday afternoon for 10, 15 minutes, connect with 50 people if I could for the week, or 100 people if I had the time to blast it out. So by the time of the week, I would have 20, 30 ideal prospects come back to us and accepted, and I was ready. That was my videos for the week. So doing that bit of prep work Friday afternoon, if it's a bit quiet for you, do a bit of prep work ready for the next week, because the success from it's just unbelievable.
I think if you're higher end, if you're targeting a company not to try and get a vacancy, you're trying to target the company because they have lots of vacancies, then the investment in time that you make, because there's no money, the investment in time that you make is well worth it, I think. Yeah. In this. Now, we are going to run over a little bit because we've got some questions coming in. So what we're going to do, I think, is just round up the usual sort of stuff and then just cover the questions after. If you can stick around, great. If not, you'll just have to tune in and just fast forward for 30 minutes and then the questions will come in. So is it okay if I just round off and then come to you, Jacob, for your top tip before we go back to the questions?
Yeah.
Okay, so video is very powerful because it's authentic, because people can get to see you in 3 dimensions. They get to know you. The mere exposure effect bites. And then if you do approach them, they're more likely to be receptive. And they may even come to you. And very often, if you use the right kind of tools like video podcasts, that can happen. So as a tool, it's very powerful. Second thing was, not a lot of people are using it well. And so if you do use it in the way that Jacob has described today, then you will make some progress. And it is all about that sales now. Increasingly, as we go into a recession, we really need to kind of increase our sales processes and our sales punch, because we're going to need to win new clients. So just before we come to you, I want you to have a little think, if that's okay, Jacob, what you will say. Just wanted to very quickly show you next week's show. We'll be looking at how recruiters can thrive in a recession. This will be the 6th downturn I've worked through. They follow a pattern, and you can actually benefit them as a recruiter. So I'm going to talk about 5 different things that you can do in the show and with Kirsty. And really, it's well worth taking care of it, because this damn thing is coming, and we may as well make the most of it whilst we can. Okay, so over to you. Final tip then, Jacob.
Final tip. I'm probably just going to reinforce the last point, to be fair. Get a whiteboard. Go buy a whiteboard. Go buy some pens. If you're owner of a recruitment business, get your team to do that. If you want to know the process of sending if you want to drop me a message, I can explain the process that I do use of actually after I've sent the video. If they don't reply, there's some great gifts that you can send out, which I won't go into too much detail, but absolutely
that's
brilliant.
Very generous. So just to get that, people just connect with you,
Yeah.
And then
drop me a message and I can send an example video and the GIF process that we use. So I'd say 50% will reply to the video, but you can get most people to reply with a chain of GIFs that are pretty funny, and most people reply even if they're angry. You've got to reply at that point. So
that is awesome. No, thank you for that. Now, one other thing I'd add, which you haven't put there, but I know we talked about it before, is experiment with Vidyard. If you haven't already, Vidyard, there's a free version. Just experiment and see where you go with it.
Yeah,
it's a great toy. Right. Well, thank you, Jacob, for running that up beautifully. Great final tip, Mike. Thanks for the run-up. Shall we jump into a couple of the questions we had now? Before we do, I thought I'd just throw out a couple of comments we've had. So we've had Lara here. She does that candidate profile piece when she's approaching people every time, which I thought was great. We've also gone even more international. So we've also managed to reach sunny Spain, which just shows the reach of video, really. We had two questions, both from Martin. I'm going to pick up on his first one here. Essentially, his team weren't comfortable about doing, he caveats this later, candidate approach videos. Apparently, they asked around and some people said it was a bit invasive. Now, what are your thoughts on this? Martin's a fan, as we can see. He's a pro. But what are your thoughts, Jacob?
I think when we sort of implemented this, a lot of people were nervous. When they saw the success that I was getting, the few of the other team members they soon jumped on it, because I don't think I've ever had a bad reply from video message ever, because if you keep them fun, if you keep them happy, it's absolutely brilliant for getting people to reply. We've tried a few other daft things like cold FaceTimes, which I wouldn't recommend, but that's a total another avenue. So you got to try this. But from video messaging, I would say just get them to give it a go. Lead the way, Martin. When they see the success that you're having.
Do you think on that obviously I don't know your team, and I don't mean to be disparaging, but do you think that's like an excuse because they don't want to do it? It's like, I don't think people would like that. Well, actually, it's them that don't like to do it.
Absolutely. I think people are nervous trying something new, and people don't like change. It's the same with cold calling. While people are afraid to cold call, people are afraid to hop on a video. You just got to do it. I must have recorded thousands and thousands of videos, so it comes naturally. But I remember the first videos, it was a shambles. But people can see through that. People can see that, and they don't mind.
We've got a free course that you don't need to register for or give us your email address or anything like this. Just on the website, you just go and you can watch some videos that will teach you, if you haven't done video before, some of the very basic things that Kirsty's put together. Pete, can you just put a link to that course in the comments, please? So people
will do after the show. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, after the show. Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
that's no problem at all.
And if you're a recruitment owner and you want an example, I'll happily send you a video.
That would be great. Yeah.
So
guys, if you still, I don't know, obviously people have gone now because we've reached our half an hour, but whoever's left, do that. You know, I might do it actually. See what he says to me. I think that's hilarious, actually. Yeah.
That's good. And well, let's move on now to Martin's second question, which is when it comes to the email piece. So embedding the video, is there a chance it will just hit the spam rather than the inbox? Now, that's a tricky question, isn't it, Jacob?
It is, yeah. From experience and from doing testing, it doesn't seem to have been the case. Vidyard are pretty good at that and making sure it doesn't land in spam. There's always those high-level security people that have certain things set up, which there's not too much you can do about. But from experience, it doesn't seem to go into spam, and the response rate's been great from it. So the thing is,
I think the other thing is that there's very little downside, because if it goes to spam, it goes to spam. You know, It still doesn't stop you from doing something else. But I think I get the point on that, Martin. By the way, I think that there is probably a slightly lifted chance of it going because it's a connection, and they'll be a bit suspicious about it. But nothing to lose, really, as far as I can see.
Just to reiterate one point, the success that we've had from direct LinkedIn messages has been triple that of Vidyard, is what I would say.
Yeah,
and that has been the best.
Yeah, that 100%. We find the same. We use video messaging quite a bit. We use LinkedIn messaging quite a bit, and we get very good response rates, particularly if they've got the green dot on their picture, which means that they use messaging. If they don't have a green dot or a green dot with a white circle, then the chances are they're not really into LinkedIn very well. So can we just end? I think that's the end of the questions. Can we just end on a statement from Kirsty, which I think is a valid point as well. She started, so she'll finish. I think there's a lot of truth in that as well, because if you're putting yourself out there, what you believe, your values, your personality, and people don't like it, then they won't buy into it. Okay, that's fine. You're not wasting your time targeting those people. But those people that self-select and come to you, well, okay, they obviously know what they're getting. So I think that's a very good point, Kirst. Yeah, so probably pop out now and get a little glass of wine for yourself, Kirst. Well done.
I imagine she's got one in her hand as we speak.
Yeah.
Right. Let's round off there then. Jacob, thank you so much again. Just to remind people, please reach out to Jacob if you do want to know a little bit more about what he does, or you want to take up his offer of receiving a video pitch.
Oh, get that video. Get it.
Do it. I think it's going to be magnificent. Mike, as ever, thank you for the insights, and we will see all our usual regular guests and the new ones next week when we discuss our recession and a success there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Boom from gloom. Boom from gloom.
From gloom. All right, everybody. Thank you very much, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks, everyone. Bye. Bye.
Oh.
You're pressing at the same time as me, you idiot.